Today we are going to talk about how to build a good team in Honkai Star Rail. Now, I think the most important part about this is knowing what each of the paths means, because they really are just descriptions of what kind of character the characters on the path are. So yeah, each of these corresponds to a different kind of role that they can have on a team, and then I'm going to go over the different roles you should have on your team, looking at the teams I've built so far. So, to go over each of the paths here, first of all, we have the Destruction path, which kind of seems like a damage dealer and just all-rounder kind of path, where you have someone like Clara, who is very good with defense and has counterattacks. You have Hook, who has some DOT mechanics, and then you have Arlen here as well. I haven't really used Arlen at all, actually, so not too knowledgeable about him. But Destruction tends to be. And then you also have the physical Trailblazer for Destruction. So you definitely, for this path, you have pretty much all-rounders. They can be your main DPS, although it's not like the most optimal thing. They can definitely be your sub DPS though. So that's at least what I've seen from this from the Destruction path so far. Then we get to the actual DPS paths. We have the Hunt, which is the single target DPS path. All four of these characters are single target damage dealers. And on the path of the Hunt, that just shows that they do a lot of damage to a single target and can also be, depending on their damage, they can be part of a hyper carry build. That build is especially good with Seela, which that's the team I run, so we'll take a look at that in a while here. But yeah, all these characters, especially Seela and Dunhang, these two are the two best single target DPSs in the game right now. And then Susheng and Yancheng are also very good. I think Yancheng is like right around where Danhang is as well, which is really nice. But yeah, definitely the Hunt is that single target damage, and it is very strong if you're able to build around it properly. Then we have kind of like the other side of the same coin as the Hunt. We have Erudition, which are the multi-target damage dealers. So really the only one here that I have a lot of experience with is Serval, since I do use her for my secondary team. But the main point of the characters in the Erudition path is just to do damage to multiple targets at once. And so if you don't want to run a Hunt character as your main damage dealer, you can run an Erudition character instead. It could be either one, honestly. And I have examples of both that we'll show later on in the video. But having these options for whether you want to be a single target damage dealer for your team or a multi-target, I think that can definitely be very helpful. And for a lot of these multi-target ones as well, their ultimate, while their ultimate hits all the targets, their skill will for the most part, will only hit a main target and then two adjacent targets. That's something to keep in mind there as well. Then next up, going into more support realms for these last four paths, we have the Harmony path, which these are your offensive supporters. They increase your team's abilities in an offensive way, and I actually have experience with all three of these, so I can talk a little bit in depth with them. Firstly, Bronya, she will not only increase your damage on your team, as well as your with her ultimate, your attacking crit rate, but also her skill, when it increases damage, she will also, whoever she uses the skill on, they will immediately get another turn, which is really helpful for if you're running someone from the Hunt, which is why Bronya and Seela are such an amazing duo together, because Seela does a lot of damage, and then Bronya is going to buff her damage and give Seela another turn. Then we have Asta. Asta has some mechanics to increase attack, but her main, her two main things is that, for one, she has a very good skill for breaking weakness, and then secondly, her ultimate increases the speed of your entire team to make your turnover come faster, which is also going to be very nice for her being your offensive support. And then Ting Yun is I think she's the best 4-star Harmony unit, and probably the best 4-star right now. We'll see how Yukong pairs up to her, because she's definitely going to give Ting Yun some competition. But Ting Yun is able to increase your damage, give you extra attack, and also her ultimate gives 50% of your energy back to the character you use it on. So this can be really good to get quicker ultimates and just deal more damage. So that's pretty much the Harmony path. Very solid for increasing your party's attacks. Then next up we have the path of Nihility, and the upcoming Silver Wolf is also going to be on Nihility as well. This path is for characters that debuff the opponent. So it's like the opposite of Harmony, where Harmony is you buffing up your own team. Nihility is about debuffing or taking buffs away from the opposing, from the enemy. So now I actually just pulled Welt, so I don't have too much experience with him. But I have been using Pella for a little bit, and Nihility is definitely very fun in the fact that you are able to either just debuff the enemy. You have some forms of DOT here, like with Sampo. Sampo's a big DOT character. From what I've seen, I haven't used him yet, but from what I've seen, he's a big DOT character. But yeah, each of these has their own sort of debuffs. I know Welt, he inflicts slowness, and then Pella can reduce enemy defense. So, while Harmony is for buffing yourself up, Nihility is for basically breaking your enemies down, getting lowering their defense, slowing them down, basically making it so that your damage dealers can have a better time dealing with your opponents. Then next up we have Preservation. These are the tanks of the game, and the 3 characters in Preservation are March 7th, Japard, and then the Fire Trailblazer. And all these characters, the main thing they have in common is that they can offer shields, either to the entire team or to just one ally. March 7th is the one that only does the one ally. And I've also seen, honestly, Japard is probably one of the best starter 5-stars, because you have a lot of survivability with him, and he is just very strong defensively, and it seems like he scales pretty well there as well. I haven't used him too much. I got to try him out on a friend's account a couple weeks ago, but having a shielder on your team, having a Preservation character, is definitely really good. And then I also want to highlight the Fire Trailblazer, because his shield skill comes with a taunt as well. So yeah, just the Preservation characters end up just being very defensive, and I feel like it's definitely good to have either a Preservation character on your team or Abundance, which is what we're going to go to next. So Abundance are your healers. I know a lot of people will not have both of these characters. And then also Locha is coming out for the Abundance path in 1.1. A lot of people right now have been kind of struggling when it comes to Forgotten Hall, because you need 2 teams for Forgotten Hall, but a lot of people only have Natasha to heal them. So I feel like the best thing to do there is to have a Preservation character on one of your teams and have an Abundance on the other one with Natasha. But yeah, Abundance is very straightforward. It's just healing. If you're a healer and you don't need anything like special to get your healing active, you're in the Abundance path. So definitely a pretty simple one there. So in terms of actually composing your teams, I think the most important things to look for is to make sure you have those puzzle pieces down on your team. To make sure you have, like, as you see, this is my main team I've been running. So you either want to have what I have here, which is like a main DPS, offensive support, and then defensive support / healer. Or instead of this, which is what I used to run, I used to run the physical MC, which would be a main DPS, sub DPS, offensive support, and then defensive support / healer. Which is definitely, it definitely works. It really just depends on what you want to do as well for the team. And then we also have my other team here, where I have main DPS, who is main DPS, which is erudition here, so multi-target instead of single target. Asta is my offensive support. Then I guess Pella is as well, but both of them can do... Well, I mean, Asta is low-key. I don't know if I want to call her a sub-DPS, but I use her a lot for, like, breaks. But then also her support is really good. And then I have Natasha for healing. Yeah, but pretty much as long as you build a team where you have... Here, I'll show you here. As long as you have one character that is your main DPS, let's say... I'll do Serval, for example. So let's say I have one main DPS, and then you could have a sub DPS. So like for example, let's say who's a good example? Let's say I did physical MC again. Obviously, physical MC is not really optimal to run, and I want to switch over to fire MC at some point, or unless the next like type of MC we get is really good. Then you want to have, even instead of her, you could have a buffer and a debuffer together as well. That's another great combo. So I could have something like Asta and Welt, and then I could have either a healer or a shielder. So like if I didn't have another healer and I needed to build like a separate team, I could run like March 7th, for example. And this is a pretty good team. Obviously it's not built, so like I won't be using it. But yeah, you'll have Serval for your main damage dealer. Asta will be good for breaking and also giving the offensive support. Welt will slow the enemies down with debuffs. And then March 7th can provide shields to increase my survivability with the team. So yeah, those are the main things for team building. If you enjoyed this guide, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.